chances are you cannot advertise your assignment for sale to the public.
Which, to be clear, means you cannot, technically, legally, you cannot have it listed anywhere on the web.
You can't put it on Kijiji.
You can't have it on a Facebook group. It's basically word of mouth. Nobody abides by that. There are
a lot of people
Facebook
bend the rules there.
Welcome back. This is episode 2 of 2 in our 2-part series on assignment sales. You're watching or listening to the Real Estate Podcast. Today, we're talking to sellers. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Real Estate Podcast, your go-to source for raw, unfiltered stories and expert tips. Whether you're a buyer, seller, tenant, landlord, or realtor, join us as we dive into the world of real estate.
What's up? What's up, neighbor?
I was going to say, what's up, partner? I like that you put a Sonos speaker in here. When I came in the other day to put these up, I pressed play and I heard a little bit more surrounds throughout it was nice.
Well, I told you while you were away on vacation.
Yeah.
I put one in here and one in my office. Mm-hmm. Jen and Tiffany were kind enough to get it all set up. And once it was set up, I did the tuning. You know how you can have it tuned for each room?
You walked around the whole...
For each one, walked around the whole thing to kind of get it all in sync.
Oh, you do them individually?
Individually.
Oh.
And then sync them all.
Jeez.
Yeah, so when we have events here, that's why I asked if you wanted one in your office.
Yeah, no, I don't. Be too loud, I think, even at the lowest volume.
If you're listening, actually, I don't even think if you're watching, you'll see it. We have a Sonos speaker tucked in the corner, so on all of our listings, we set up a Sonos speaker, which is a Wi-Fi speaker, on each finished floor of the property. So we've got 20 or 30 of them. And we had a couple of extras. So I figured...
May as well put them to use.
Might as well put it to use.
I know you're limited on time today, so let's maybe jump right into it.
Yeah, let's do that. So if you missed last week's episode...
Shame on you. You must not be subscribed. So hit that subscribe button.
Thank you, because I was looking at the analytics for the past 30 days, and the numbers are going up significantly. But over 80% of people that watched the podcast on YouTube are not subscribed. So if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, leave a comment, help us out. So last week we talked about buying an assignment sale. Some of that information is transferable to this week's discussion, which is selling as an assignment.
So, and I would recommend to both buyers and sellers that they listen to both episodes, because it's good to know, the information from both sides of the equation.
So I've been involved on this side of the equation a few times where our client approaches me and says, hey, I bought this new prop. And again, we're much like last week, we're talking more related to new construction, not resale.
It does apply to both, but it's much more heavily weighted in the new construction segment.
Assignments are available on both, but we're focused kind of on the builder aspect. So I think first and foremost, the first thing I say to our potential seller is we got to look at the contract, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, and then the costs associated with everything if you're allowed to do it. Mm-hmm. Pro tip, ChatGPT can help you tremendously. So if you have that document in an electronic format, Chat4o, you can upload, and there's other AI programs, but I quite like the Chat4o, where you can upload your attachments. And
I've used it many times for legal documents. It's super handy. Yeah, it's really handy because it just...
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, so I had a couple I was helping who were going through a separation. They had a legal separation document, and I needed information from it in order to help one of the parties. I think you
mentioned this. Did you talk about this in a podcast? Or
no, we did discuss it, but off camera. So I was helping one of the two people find a property to rent temporarily. And the separation agreement is something that most landlords want to see because they want to know, okay, what are the finances? Like, where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
And how is it separated? So I uploaded it into ChatGPT 4 and I said, give me a summary of how much person B is getting paid from person A and where to find it in the document. And it broke it down very clearly. And I would say saved me half an hour of reading.
Yeah. So there's an example. If you have your original contract, you can upload it to ChatGPT, have it look for what is your responsibilities for assigning, advertising, costs, all of that. So, and it's free. So before you start going into lawyer costs, that might be a quick way. And as a realtor, if you're a realtor, that's a good way to get a head start and save yourself some time.
Actually, I never thought about it, but even for just general real estate transactions, upload your contract and ask for a summary of what's included, what's not included, what are my responsibilities.
Yeah, did I miss anything?
Right.
Yeah, actually, we should train for those of you that use ChatGPT, you can essentially train it to know everything about you, your business, what you like to see with certain things, what you don't like to see, how you like things formatted. We should probably do that. It will save lots of time. So that's the first thing that I do is I review the agreement. Now, what we talked about in the last episode is really, really important. And that's the ability to advertise. Chances are you cannot advertise your assignment for sale to the public.
Which, to be clear, means you cannot technically legally, you cannot have it listed anywhere on the web.
You can't put it on Kijiji.
You can't have it on a Facebook group. It's basically word of mouth.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
Nobody abides by that. There are
a lot of people
Facebook
bend
groups and
the rules there.
And the developer's probably not out there scouring the internet looking for listings.
Some of them do.
Yeah, sure. But technically you can't. So, and most definitely.
Well, you want to know if you can't.
Right. And most definitely, if they say you can't, then it's a no to realtor.ca listing.
So the interesting thing is the MLS, the multiple listing service, is basically a bunch of real estate boards that feed into this system. A lot of the real estate boards do not allow assignment sales to be advertised on their board.
Mm-hmm.
So even if the builder allows it, you probably still can't go to MLS.
Yeah.
So
they get around that by saying it's new construction and having verbiage somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends how shady you want to be, I suppose, with certain things. But
like you always say.
Yeah.
And for those listening, I just slapped my wrist.
Better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. So review the agreement. What did we talk about here last week?
To know if you can do one, period.
Yes.
To know if you can, whether or not you can advertise it publicly.
Yes.
And to know what are your costs involved with the assignment. Because the builder will have an assignment fee, administrative fees, legal fees, the list goes on.
Yeah, and then you got to figure out who's paying for it. So am I, the seller now of this contract, responsible, or am I willing to pay for anything to make this look more attractive to a potential buyer? So if you really got to unload the place and you want to make it super easy and cost effective for another buyer to take over the contract, then maybe you are paying for certain things in advance or giving a break on the price to offset that or whatever. So there's a lot of negotiation that happens in an assignment sale in general. We talked about, buyers having a upper hand at the moment in negotiating because there's a lot of people that need to offload these purchases. But at the same time, there's always a way to negotiate from the seller's perspective that, hey, this is a deal. I'm cutting you a deal, and sometimes you don't have to give up as much. Depends on the demand of the unit, of course.
I think it's really important to have realistic expectations or realistic understanding of the market, because I've seen many real estate agents advertise assignment sales saying, great deal, buy now.
Everybody's
save.
perception of a deal is different.
Right. And they may, get lucky and trick somebody, but in many cases, those are not deals because they're still over market value. You can go buy something new for less.
I'm a member of one of these Facebook groups. I don't know if you're a member of that one either, and it's specifically for assignments. And thousands of people in this group, and a lot of realtors. And how many times I see a post, distressed sale.
Oh, yeah.
You seen those?
Yeah.
And what makes me laugh is some of them, you see the original purchase price is less than the current asking price.
Right.
How the fuck is that a distress sale? Do you know the definition of distress sale?
Do you ever comment?
No.
You should.
Nah.
It's not worth your time, but.
No, I've snoozed those groups because the stupidity that gets posted in some of them.
Yeah, I agree.
And the questions, I just don't have any time or patience for it. I want to point out, and again, a lot of what we talked about last week is very relevant. So I want to touch on just a couple of quick things that are a little different. Really important if you're selling your original contract to talk to your accountant and review the numbers to know what your responsibility is from a tax liability perspective.
Mm-hmm. So
are there any capital gains, and how will you be taxed on that? Is there HST involved? Will you be responsible for that? And can I claim it back? Is there a rebate? So you want to have a discussion. And then also the loss. If you're taking a loss on it, is it now a capital loss? Do the assignment costs and closing costs and land transfer tax and the realtors fees and all of those things, any of those fees, are they now all attributed to a loss?
Right.
Because for some people, if they are in a distressed situation and have to sell their contract for somebody else to take over, and they're taking a loss, for some people that loss, maybe it was their original deposit, that money's already gone, they've already paid for it, but this year now they can take a significant capital loss on towards their income and now save on federal and provincial taxes because that loss is bringing their income and taxable income down. So there could be, you need to talk to an accountant.
I think an important conversation that I have with sellers in this position, I had one recently. It wasn't an assignment sale, but it was a question of whether to sell or to rent. And it was, in this particular situation, it was also a scenario where they were losing in either scenario. They'd bought it a couple years ago, and they lived in it for a year, rented it for a year, tenant just moved out. The price has now gone down, by my estimation at the time. I told him a value that was probably $60,000 to $75,000 less than what he paid for it, minus all of his expenses too. Yeah. And if he rented it, he was out of pocket $1,000 to $1,500, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
So for him, it was he thought he decided to sell. That was what he thought he was going to do. So I ran the numbers and I urged him not to. And I said, well, I think one, we can get your rent up with a new tenant so we can get an extra couple $100 a month in your pocket to ease that suffering a little bit. But also, I forecast with the future or current direction of interest rates going down and projection of that continuing for a little bit into next year, I think prices will stabilize and started to come up again. So I think for him, the immediate loss of $75,000 to $100,000 easily versus $1,000 a month, it would take him a very long time to make up that difference as a monthly loss. So he was way better, as long as he could stomach it and manage the payments, that he was way better off to rent it.
Essentially, you're mortgaging your loss.
Yeah, unfortunately. But, to lose that much money immediately is pretty significant.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what he did. We rented it out again. He's got a new tenant in there. They actually moved in this weekend.
I mean, that's a good point, because that's an important decision when looking at this option. And again, the importance of having a realtor that knows what they're talking about, that you can trust, that knows the numbers, can sit down and educate you on the options and what the end result of those options are going to be. Because it's not as simple as saying, oh, it'll rent for $1,300 a month, or we can sell it for $400,000. No, it goes much deeper. So,
well, I think in the scenario, a lot of it probably comes down to their carrying costs. They probably just can't afford to close on it. And I think another really important professional to have in their back pocket is a really good mortgage broker, mortgage agent, somebody that really knows the industry. Because my guess is they're selling it because they just think that they can't afford it.
They can't
qualify. Either they can't qualify, or it's just not feasible to carry. And I think if they have somebody that's really well-versed in the mortgage industry, they may have some other suggestions that the first person didn't, whether it's, do a short-term 1-year thing, let's refinance it in a year, with, estimating that we'll be in a better position.
That's
or
a good
maybe
point.
they have different lending options that they don't know about.
Well, that's it, right? Like if some people even deal with their primary big bank, one of the big banks, and the big bank says, oh, well, you don't qualify. There might be alternative lending solutions. It might be a short-term thing. And again, you got to weigh out all those situations. So, if you want to add even another professional into that mix, a financial planner or somebody that can assess whether or not you can afford to take a loss, because the difference between actually getting the funding and actually being able to afford it might be two different things.
Yeah.
So
do you even know where your money goes every month?
Right.
Most people don't.
Yeah. You're driving a brand new Porsche.
Right.
But now you're taking a $2,000 a month loss on this condo.
Downgrade your car for a couple of years.
Which would you rather have? I don't know. Keep the condo or keep the Porsche? Which one's going up in value?
Yeah.
So anyways, if you're thinking of selling a property that you have a contract on, specifically a new build, we'd love to hear from you, love to help you. Happy to have a free consultation. And in the meantime, subscribe and follow us so you can get more information and get all these fun facts.
It's great.
Great.
Sounds wonderful.
Sounds great.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
So that concludes our 2-part series on assignment sales for both buyers and sellers. Hopefully the information we gave you will help you make an informed decision. Remember to click the link in our description to visit our website and contact us if you have any questions about buying or selling real estate. Have a great day.